So we are now recording, I think. Yes. Okay. So I'm just going to go over some basic functionality of Motivosity, and then Sophie's here to answer any HR questions, and it's something that we're all kind of learning together, so we may not have all the answers. But to log in, if you go to motivosity.com, on the left-hand side, you can see the menu, and you can just click that login button, log in with your email. And I am actually logged in here as a little fake user, so we can kind of see what's going on. First, I'll kind of go over the interface. Across the top, these are your different areas, and I'll go over each of those. On the left-hand side, that shows you what you can give and then what you can spend. And then down here at the bottom, this is the leaderboard. And so we're still trying to figure this out, but what we can kind of see is that if you complete the satisfaction survey, you get 250 points. If you receive thanks or you earn a badge, you get 150 points. And then every time you give thanks to someone, you get 50 points. So since I'm on the top of the leaderboard, I think it's working great, but that may not be the case. So we'll kind of see how this plays out during the month, but it seems to update at the end of every night. And then over here on the right-hand side, you'll see if you haven't taken that survey, it's very short, just 4 questions, kind of about the organization. You can take that survey here. And then underneath, those are the announcements, and Sophie's been doing a really great job updating those announcements and kind of keeping everyone up to date with what's going on. And then in the center, this is where you give your thanks as well as see a feed of what's happening. And so what I really like about the feed is we can see company-wide or all of OIT, we can see what's happening. We can also use this little drop-down to look at our extended team, our department, or just our individual team. So this particular user is on my team. So if I click on team, it's going to filter the results and just see what has been happening from my team. So I have 4 direct reports plus me. So that's just the 5 of us are on this list. So you can kind of see what happens on your team, and then your extended team, which would be, I believe, your department. Sophie might be able to clarify a little bit. I know this is like my director, so David Thomas and everyone under him. And then our department, I don't have anything for department. So Sophie, do you know how that's laid out, organized?
Yeah, they use different terminology than we do. So department would be division, and that should not be blank for you. So I don't know, like that would be anybody whose title for you, I think, is academic technologies or something like that. So
Okay.
if you look at the org tree, anyone who shares that we used division titles in place of department name.
Okay.
So, and I do have some other glitches that I'm having them look into in that arena. So my guess is it's somehow all tied to that, whatever that problem is.
Yeah, I'm definitely finding that team works well, and then extended team, so then I can see David Thomas and then everyone else, and then company has been working just fine, as well as seeing the entire organization. So
yeah.
So across the top here, I want to go over these things for you, and then we'll come back to appreciation. But one thing that we'd like everyone to do is update their profile. So if you click on that profile tab, there is this little edit pencil here, which has been getting some people. So if you click that edit pencil, that will allow you to change your name, enter your birth date if you would like, enter a phone number and a location, and then things that you care about. So just a brief little description is what most people have been putting in there. Then there's an arrow down here, and this is where you can set up your notifications. So I've been pretty happy with actually just the daily notification. You can set it for weekly, or if you never want to get notified, you can set that for never. And I've been just setting the new email scope for my team. That kind of narrows it down a little bit. And then every time I receive an appreciation or a thanks, I have set that to on, so I at least get an email notifying me that someone has said thanks. But those preferences are completely up to you. If you also, I'm going to go back to that edit pencil. To add your picture, you just click on this change, and that will allow you to access your computer and upload a photo. Underneath that, that's going to show a little bit more about what you're giving, what you're receiving, any kind of notifications, and anything that you've purchased through the money that you've received. And that information is also displayed publicly unless something was given to you privately. So you'll get to see who you've been giving money to, or just a thanks to, and then who's been receiving it. Then on the right-hand side, this is where you take your personality test. This is where it's just a short 4 little questions. I wouldn't say it's the most detailed personality test, but at least it's been fun to kind of see where everyone lies in your organization. So that's been fun. I would like to see it a little bit more detailed, but it is what it is. And then underneath, those are interests. So some people have been asking about how to join groups, and this is where you join quote unquote groups. So if you click on see company-wide interests, that will allow you to see, should populate here. These are the most popular groups or interests in our organization. You scroll down to the bottom, if you'd like to join any of these things, you can just click on the number and you can join the group. You can see who's in the group, and then you can also mail this group. So I think one thing that would be really neat is all these folks here, there's 8 people who are interested in skiing. I could send out a message to this group and just say, hey, I'm going up to Breckenridge this weekend. Is anyone interested in carpooling? And it would just send an email message to the group. So that's kind of a neat way to find out who has the same interests as your organization, and then also communicate just with those people. You can see more results here, and this just continues to fill up. I thought one really interesting one that I didn't know is beekeeping. Let's see if I can find it on here. Yeah. So Jen is interested in beekeeping, which I think is really cool. And so I'm definitely going to ask her kind of, does she have bees? That would be neat to find out. So just kind of a neat way to see who's active in the organization and who you have similar interests with. All right, so that was from our profile page. So I'm going to go back there and just make sure got everything here. You can set some goals if you'd like, some work goals or some personal goals. I would assume those show up in the feed, but I am not certain about that. So use at your own risk. Okay, next across the top here is the store. This is where you can redeem any money that you've earned in the form of an e-gift card. We haven't had a lot of questions about this because I assume everyone's just getting started, but there is this prepaid Visa reward. So if you don't like any of these things, you could always cash out your money for those things. And I think this is kind of a good time to remind folks that money that you receive is taxed. So Sophie, do you mind talking a little bit about how that's going to work?
Yeah, it's the any amounts that are awarded to you and redeemed for gift cards are included in your end of year taxable wages, so they're subject to withholding for income taxes. And it's a pretty small amount given that these are one few dollar awards here and there. But if you do see, my understanding is payroll services will identify these separately on your W-2 at the end of the year. So you'll know what the total was. And you would also be able to track that from the Motivosity site as well, just to see how much you've redeemed under your profile. But that's where you'll see that. And then as far as the tax implications, it really is something that you hammer out at tax time between yourself and your tax filing professional, as the case may be.
Did we have a question about that? Thought I heard somebody. Okay. So yeah, if you participate in the B Colorado, I assume that's very similar. We get our $25 a month for being active, and that stuff is also taxable. So, all right. So that's the store. Milestones. Move over here to milestones. So if you enter your birthday will show up here on this list as it gets closer and closer. It doesn't have the year, so don't worry about that. But if you would like to be included on this list, add your birthday to the profile. And then anniversaries, this is something that our lovely ladies over in HR are still working on. Right now, we don't have any anniversaries in here because we can't enter them ourselves, but they're working on getting that entered so we can kind of see how long people have been around. So that would be good. Sorry about that. And again, you can filter that by your team, department, etc. All right, badges. That's kind of the next area on the list. Right now, there is one company-wide badge, the profile picture badge. So if you put your profile picture up there, I'll make sure to get you a badge. Gives you 150 points on the leaderboard. And it also shows up in your profile that you've added a picture. It's just nice to be able to see who everyone is. So we thought we'd award a badge. If you are a manager, or director, you can award badges to your team. And I know that Russ is going to use badges to award his Splice Awards. So people who earn a Splice Award from Russ, he'll award a badge to those people, and then they can come pick up some swag from Amy. So that'll be a nice little recognition piece. And over on the right, I can see who has been awarded that badge. And a lot of people have added their profile pictures, which is awesome. And then the last tab that I want to talk about is the Insight tab. The insight that we can see as just users are, we can see three things. We can see an organizational chart, a personality map, and an interest map. And I think this is a pretty cool feature. I've actually used this quite a bit so far. So for the organizational chart, if you just click and drag, you can kind of move this around. But if I click here on Russ Pool, I can see who his reports are. And I'm going to go down here into David Thomas, and I can see who his direct reports are. And then I can go down a little bit farther into the folks that work for me. And I have John Doe here, which is this test user. He will eventually go away, but he is a hard worker. So far, so good. This is just a really nice way to look at the organization, especially if folks have pictures. It kind of helps us out here, and we can kind of zoom in. One thing that happened to me the other day is Maya sent me an email with a bunch of people's names and said, invite these people to a meeting. And I didn't know those people's last names. So I was able to come in here and let me close his up and take a look at who reports to Maya. And I knew they were on Vaughn's team. So I was able to move that around a little bit. There we go. I was able to kind of see who those folks were and get their last names. So that was really helpful for me when I was looking for information. So that is the organizational chart. Move down to the personality map. Personality map that I believe shows the data from the little survey that you take, the personality test that you take. So maybe not the most accurate, but still fun to kind of look at. Again, you can drill down in these things. So if I click on David Thomas here, I can see David Thomas and all of his reports and kind of how we all fit similar to David or different than David as far as management style goes. We can click down on the right-hand side here to gathering information. So who is more facts driven, who is more kind of inspirational, and drawing conclusions, who has kind of a more logical way of doing things. So just another way to kind of look at your organization, and it has been fun talking to the people in our group about where we fall on this personality map and if we agree or disagree with the information. So just kind of a fun thing. Interest map takes us back to this company-wide interest. And as you can see, happy hour is leading the way as the biggest interest in OIT. So that's been kind of fun. Then if you want to add yourself to any of these, you just click on the number and you can join that group or mail that group. So that's kind of how that works. Administrators like Russ and some of the folks in HR have some additional insight so they can see who's been giving money and giving thanks and how that all fits in with the organization. So hopefully Russ will share some of that data with us just to kind of give us an idea of how we're all connecting. So any questions, or Sophie, anything you'd like to add about any of those functionalities?
No, I don't. I think you did a great job. I think it's an excellent idea to suggest, in case it falls off his radar at the next town hall, that Russ might want to share some of that.
Yeah.
Hey, Crystal, I missed, where do you add a picture? I guess I didn't quite understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. So under your profile, there is a little grayed out pencil on the right-hand side. If you click on that little tiny pencil, and then on the left-hand side, there's usually like a silhouette, and underneath it says change.
Oh, I see. Where it says change? Yeah, got it.
If you click that, then you can upload your picture.
Got it. And then the other question I have is you said you can give $5. I sort of caught this before. So if you don't give the $5 by the end of the month or something like that, you lose it? Or did I misunderstand that? Or
no, that's true. Thanks is the $5 starts at the beginning of the month. At the end of the month, that $5, anything left over will go away, and then you'll get a new $5 for the next month. So if you don't share it with someone, thank somebody with it, it goes away.
Okay, I did understand. Okay, thanks.
Yep, and then the very last thing I just want to show you is who do you appreciate. So on that home page, whenever you do want to give thanks, in that box you just type their name. Their name will pop up here. Next box, say thanks here. So what do you want to thank them for? If it falls under one of our OIT values, definitely click one of those things. If you don't click any of them, it'll say just because. And then the last thing you can do is actually reward bonus money. So that's where you actually give your money. So you don't have to give any money. You can just say thanks. And then you can also make that private. So if you don't want it to show up on the overall feed, you can just make it private. It'll just go to that person, and only the administrators will see that activity happening. So that's about it. Add your profile picture, update your profile, and then give your appreciation. Any other questions? All right. Well, that's it. Thanks for coming, and I will have this recorded, so I know a couple folks were interested in watching it. So
Awesome. If you want to send the link to where it's saved to, Crystal, I'll post it on the announcements.
Oh yeah, that'll be great. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Crystal.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.